channel. We are lowering my Toyota Celica GTS. I'm going to show you guys how to. I've done a video like this before in the past, so I'll have two of these on YouTube, but we're lowering the Tsunami. I got a 2004 Toyota Celica GTS Tsunami Edition, the good one. In 3PO red, my favorite color, absolutely red. It's just beautiful. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be lowering it. Now, I didn't go expensive at all. I was really looking at some $1,000 coilovers and I didn't want to. I bought an expensive turbo kit for this and I didn't want to invest more in parts than the car's worth. So I want a more effective and efficient way, and what that's going to be is stag lowering springs. So these are the lowering springs that we're going to be using. I've used them before. Stag right there. And then I got some OEM-like cheap struts. So what we're going to be doing, I don't know how many miles, this car has 160,000 miles. I don't know if these were ever replaced on the struts, but I decided, hey, if I'm going to take them all apart, let's just buy some new ones. This combo right here is $200. So very, very affordable. It should give me a 1.6 inch lowering. This is definitely factory. I did find some wheels for this car, but I haven't got them yet, so we'll be doing that soon. And then, but today we're just gonna get lowering. I really want the car lowered. Your Toyota Celica handles so like a dream when the car is lowered. It's so much better than the original ride height. The original ride height is, especially with these giant 18s on here, it feels really sloppy and feels like almost if you go too fast that you're gonna lose it. So when you get the car lowered and lower the center of the gravity, with this car being as lightweight as it is, makes a huge difference. Huge, so much more enjoyable and pleasurable. So this is would be one of the first things I'd recommend is lowering springs or a coilover. Coilovers, you're looking anywhere from like, for good stuff, $800 to $1,300 USD, a lot of money. So lowering springs is a great option. TN is good. The only reason, and I had TN in the past, the only reason I didn't use TN or like a DNA brand is because I bought Stag on my Tsunami Celica and they were a fantastic product. I really enjoyed it. It made the car look really good and the handling was superior. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys how to install. You're gonna need some tools for this project, and the first one is some energy. Yeah, that's gonna hit the spot right there. This will help us get the job done. Let's go. The first thing I recommend doing is taking your breaker bar or whatever it is and getting all the lug nuts loose so that when you get the car lifted up, they're easier to get off. So we'll go ahead and get the car lifted up right now. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so once you get the car lifted, pull the wheel off, or wheels, the front ones. I do recommend buying an air compressor. I believe this is $150. And then I got an all Craftsman on it and it was very, very affordable. This isn't the strongest PSI on here, but it does a fantastic job. It's very small and portable. Once you get this off, you got the wheel off, we're gonna go ahead and start. What we're trying to do is remove that, as everyone says, crusty old thing right there. And I am glad I got new struts on there. I don't know if those are OEM, but they're pretty bad. So what we'll do first is we'll remove these. I believe they're 19 millimeters. And we'll move this guy and this guy because we're trying to pop that out. Next thing I'd recommend is putting a little bit of lubricant on those bolts. It'll make them come off easier. So you're gonna do there, and then those three. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, just like that, we have it free. So we're gonna go over it. 19 millimeter, 19 millimeter, 19 millimeter, 19 millimeter. There's a 10 millimeter and two 14 millimeters. It'll get it off. You're gonna undo the ABS one. You're gonna do the brake line. And then now what you're gonna come up here is there's three 12 millimeters. Once those are off, this strut and spring will come down and you can just pull it out. Very simple. You guys can do this. I do recommend getting this impact. It makes everything a lot easier. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna open up the Stag springs and open up the OEM-like but aftermarket struts. These are absolutely beautiful. So these are the Stags. I love that. It looks like the TRD racing flag right there. They're nice, very affordable, very affordable. They're good bang for the buck. I like the gray color. I think it looks good. Sometimes like the TNs are green. I don't want a green coil on my car. I just don't want it. So those will look pretty nice, almost all OEM, paired with these brand new, which the build quality seems to be pretty good on these. The whole setup for these is just around $200, which I think is extremely reasonable. So let's go ahead and grab the driver's side, and we'll pair it with the spring, and then we'll mount the top hat from the OEM one on, and then we'll reinstall it, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a 19mm and you're gonna buzz that off. It'll shoot the top hat over here. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be using that old boot. It's ugly and dirty, so I'm gonna actually rock them without a boot. I don't recommend that. I'll have to maybe put them back on eventually. Look at this OEM one, and then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna come over to your new one. It matches it like that. It's gonna be in this order. So it'll be the protective boot right here, which I'll lubricate and clean that up. It'll be this top hat for the spring, followed by the original top hat. And then it also comes with the OEM nut, or you can use the aftermarket one. We'll probably use the aftermarket one. So, and we'll go ahead and then grab one of the coils, the larger ones of course, and we'll use this larger coil and set it here and combine it all back together. Okay, so this is how it's assembled. There's a cushion, then there's the little boot, then there's this metal top hat part with a little rubber and another little rubber, and then we put the aftermarket bolt on there. I pushed down on it, and my girlfriend came and grabbed the impact gun and just tightened it on there. It's not the hardest thing, so you don't have to use coils if you're strong enough to do it, and then you just put this lid back on it and we're done. That's it. Simple. This has probably been about 1 hour to do this so far. All right, with my YouTube videos, I like to be really detailed. 12mm, all tightened, torque tightened after I put the new one in there. 19mm with a 19mm held here, impact it as tight as it'll go, hold that there, 2 of them. I have both the bolts usually facing backwards, that's the way I like it. 14mm with the sway bar. You can use a 14mm right here, and then use an Allen, they call it an Allen wrench, and you hold this tight and get it in there. Anyways, you hold that tight with that, like that, with the Allen wrench, crank it down, tighten it. Then you're gonna come over here and do a 10mm for the ABS line and a 14mm for the brake line, and you're done. That's it, you're done. We did it. So, first one is installed. I know there's no boot. I wish there was a boot, I'm disappointed. But it is what it is. I might have to rip all this off anyways when I'm boosting my car. If I want to do a new clutch or not. I'm still undecided if I should just put the turbo kit on and just blow this clutch and then get a new one. I don't know, we'll see what we're gonna do. But this is where we are. So before I jump over to the other side and do that, I'm gonna mask this up and paint this gold thing black because it drives me nuts. I told myself I'd wear rubber gloves. They just always come off. I just can't, ugh. Anyways, this one took about half the time. It's pretty normal. Again, put WD-40 or some kind of lubricant on these before you do it. It makes your whole job a lot easier. Everything comes off very easy. I've duplicated it on this side. It's the same as the other side. There's nothing different besides, the only thing that's different is this guy. This thing right here points one way and then the other one points the other way. It's pretty simple. And then the last thing is I hit this with some primer. We're gonna let that sit 20 minutes, 10-20 minutes. And while we do that, we're gonna come outside and we're gonna bang off that thing again so we can get the top hat and move forward. Let's do that. All right guys, so we already took the other jack off. Top jack off. Let's get this a little higher. Pull that out. All right, here's the moment of truth. Woo! It went down quick. So it needs to sit a little bit. It still has a big gap. Let's let it sit a little bit. Let's try the other side too. Let's make sure the other side. Ooh, this looks way better. See this one? Yeah. So we'll let it sit a little bit. It's still pretty big. And I think when I get those new, because I have those new struts on there, that makes a difference too. But it already looks lower. Should be like a 1.6 inch drop. Let it sit, it needs a rest. And as it rests, it'll get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And then when we get the smaller wheels with a larger profile, it'll look perfect like a tsunami. Okay, So we flipped around the Celica, huge. Look at that, that's the original. It's not done, and it gets lower over time. This is so much better, I promise you. It'll be way, way, way better. It gets even better. It's not slammed, I'll tell you that, it's not slammed, which I wanted to slam it, and I might do it in the future, but this is so affordable, and it already looks way, 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 way more aggressive. Now let's go ahead and do the rears. So to start the rear, open up your hatch. You're gonna have to remove your plastics because we're trying to get to these pillars here and there. This is weird, yours won't look like this. The previous owner decided to dyno mat their whole car. Yeah. Oh man, you never know what you're gonna buy. Well, I'll tell you though, this does have quieter ride because of it. Yeah, but what we're doing is going after these guys right here. These are 14 millimeters, so those are the three that we're gonna want to get after. Once you got your car lifted, or the plastics removed and your car lifted up, you're gonna start coming down here and releasing some of the bolts down here. So we'll go ahead and do that first. All right, this rear one was a pain. Not normally a pain. You have to use a cheater bar right there, and then in addition to the cheater bar, I really had to wiggle it out. It was difficult. So I unhooked the sway bar, I unhooked this top pull up mount, I don't know what you call that, and then I unhooked the 14 millimeters up top, all three of those, and then I pulled down, and this thing kind of bounces around the lower suspension part, and I really had to push it down. I finally wiggled it out. It was a pain. It's usually not that much of a pain, but this little cup right here sometimes like to get stuck on there, so you're gonna have to wiggle it off like I did. Now what we need to do, for all this, we just want that top hat part. So let's go ahead and button that off, and we'll use the new ones over there. So rear strut, rear spring, then it's gonna have the little cushion pad on the inside. The metal part goes up, just an FYI. Then it's gonna go the top hat, and then the top hat with this bronze or golden washer, and then I'm gonna use the aftermarket nut and put that back on. Impact that. You should have an impact on, definitely do an impact on, and then we'll go ahead and reinstall it. Once you have it reassembled, get the 14 millimeters, put those back on there. This is a lot of work, I'm gonna say. It is a lot of work. Go down there, grab the 19s, put the 19s back in. Don't put the sway bar back on. This is a sway bar, by the way. Don't put that one tight because you're gonna wanna use it to move it out of the way of the other side. And then put the rest back together. So we'll go ahead and put the rest back together. Brief little intermission. This is a big job. This is gonna be a 4 out of 5 just due to labor intensity. If you were to buy the coilovers, it's very similar in amount of work. The hardest part is actually for me is always seeming to get the original springs out the back. So we're gonna go ahead and say real quick right here, this is where we're at. So it's primered the center wheel disc, installed, reinstalled the stag on this side. So that one's gonna be drying before we hit it with some black paint. I'm also gonna be doing some red, since the previous owner decided to do red on the front but not on the back. So we'll match these ones, and then we'll hit that. So this is all stock as the car came, I guess you'd say. So, and you can actually see that TRD canister, but right over here, this is what we've done so far on this one. Starting to look really, really good. I love it. This is gonna be a nice build for a Celica GTS. Matchy matchy, that looks good. So this is a big video with a lot of in it. So we're letting that one go. We're done. We've completed all of them. This is gonna go in the trash, recycle metal, get all that junk. So that's how you do that. This side's completed too. If you have any comments, comment down below, I'm gonna help you. I'm spraying that with primer. We're gonna let that dry for a little bit. We'll hit it with the red brake rotor caliper from Dupli Color. I think this is like $13, $14. The primer's $5. That stuff lasts, the red brake paint lasts forever. The front of the car actually already had it on there. So we had to get the matchy. That looks good. It's gonna look really good. If you guys have any questions for any of this, I'll help you. So all we need to do is let this dry, put the plastics back in, hit this with the black paint, and we'll cover up the brake rotor, and then button, just put the wheel back on, and we're good. If you have any questions, again, please comment down below. I'll help you. When you reassemble the rear ones, they should go in easier because the spring and the strut clamp together is a lowering spring, so it should be smaller than the OEM one, and which makes it go in easier. So it's an easier install on putting it back in. Okay, so we've completed and reinstalled the plastics. They look great. So all the this car is great plastics. The dark looks so good. 2003, Toyota decided, hey, we're gonna go with the dark with charcoal. So much nicer. And then of course I went with the 2003 taillights. So we've completed that. I'm just letting that paint dry real quick. Go ahead and pull that off real quick there. There's that beautiful rotor. Or rotor. Well, I guess the rotor's black, it looks good. The caliper looks really good in red. So we're gonna leave that like that. We'll let it dry about another 30 minutes. And then we'll lower the car back down. So we got new OEM-like springs and struts with a stag, stag springs and OEM-like struts. It looks really, really good. Springs take a long time to sit, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks. So the car will continue to be lower as time goes on, and you'll see in my videos. We'll go ahead and grab that wheel and put the wheel on this one, zip it back up, and then we'll go for a little drive. Oh man, I am tired. That is a big, big job. It takes a lot of work, a lot of energy to do that. Maybe I'm getting older. Nah, no such thing. So got it done. Total is about 6 hours to get the entire thing done, from beginning to finish. I did a couple extra steps. I painted, that took a lot of extra time. Let's go ahead and look at that. It looks really, really good. So you guys can see. That looks awesome. These ones are already painted, but I did paint that inner part black. So here's the ride height. This is what it looks like. It's starting to settle already. It was a lot higher when I first got the car and brought it out. It was a lot higher. It's starting to settle. It'll take about, I would say, golly geez, probably about 3 to 4 weeks to have it fully settled when it's actually the actual ride height of what it is. So if we go to my Instagram story just a little bit before, that's what it was looking like. And then that's what it looks like now. Way lower, way better. I think for the price of these, you can't beat anything better. So total invested, like what I bought all this for, I think was just shy of 200 or right underneath 200. The shipping and all that was included in all of it. I think it was like 218 bucks, or it was like 198, I can't remember. But that is such a good deal. Such a good deal to get new suspension. That's pretty good quality in my opinion. It rides pretty good. It feels so much more sportier, and you get new struts and shocks that are OEM like. It's a good deal. But here's how you do it. I hope you guys like this. Make sure to hit the like button. Swing by MITCHDORE.com. Pretty easy. Like I always said, if you have any comments, comment down below. Not pretty easy. It was probably like a 4 out of 5 star, just of labor intensive. It's not gonna be as hard as like a turbo or an engine rebuild, but to do this, it's gonna take some time, some muscle. Try to have the impact tools and make your life way more easier. Another thing would make your life easier is if you had a lift, that would make it easier. Again, make sure to like, subscribe, swing by MITCHDORE.com. I'll see you guys on the next video. This thing's starting to look pretty good. See you guys then.